Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we're giving you guys our first impressions of the new releases from Metallica and Overkill. So it's a big day for metal just from the names alone, but it's also a big day for thrash metal. Metallica and Overkill, two bands that have been around for ages making tons and tons of music. I guess we'll start off with Overkill. That's what I started my day with today. The album's called Scorched. This is a band that I haven't listened to too much, but the first time I checked them out was from an album called The Electric Age. It came out in 2012, and I thought it was pretty good. And then when we were checking out albums again for our year in review for 2017, I checked out The Grinding Wheel, which was fine. I didn't really find anything crazy about it that blew my mind, at least from what I can recall. But the biggest thing I noticed with this Overkill album is Bobby's voice sounds really good. This guy is like 59 years old. So to sound like that at that age, you are taking care of yourself very, very well. Mm-hmm. Like, just the power, the highs. That was the biggest part. Like the vocal, the high range that he's got is like, wow, like super duper powerful. And I feel like if it wasn't for his voice, maybe it would just kind of feel like a normal whatever thrash album. But I feel like his voice really gives it a lot of character. And one song in particular, "Twist of the Wick," I feel like the high vocals are probably the highlight of his high vocals are probably in that song. That's where I noticed it the most. Where like, yeah, this is super sick. He sounds awesome, and I love that. But riff-wise, it's really good. I mean, you know, it's what you'd expect from a good thrash album, right? And there are some riffs that I'd hear and be like, oh yeah, this is some good stuff. "Bag of Bones," which is the last track, that one was really good in terms of that. Like for almost the entire song, I'm thinking, oh yeah, this is the good stuff. But that's kind of just like what it is and what thrash has been for a while.
Yeah, you're right about basically everything you said. Overkill is a very consistent band. Tried getting into them throughout the years. I own a couple of their albums. I can't remember what they're called, but I remember one has like a green cover with like a creature or something on it, and the other one I think is like gray or blackish gray or something like that.
I think they may have done multiple green ones.
They might.
I think green is like a common color.
I really don't know their discography that well. I just know I've tried getting into them a couple times, or at least over the years, but they never really clicked with me. But I do know that they're very consistent. They are very good at what they do. They're very, they got good riffs, good solos. The vocal performances are always stellar. And it's funny you mentioned "Twist of the Wick" because that's one of my highlight songs for vocals being one of the reasons. They actually have some pretty cool vocal harmonies there where I think they're just layering vocals. I don't think it's two singers, but they're layering vocals in a cool way. Sounded cool. But the song is really good. It's got some good pacing. It's got a nice drive to it. It just kind of thunders through, which a lot of the songs do. It's kind of like, just how they do things, right? The song right after that too, which is called "Wicked Place," again, just riffs, man. It's they did everything right. They didn't really do anything wrong. There was one song, I didn't write the name of it, but it was like a slower song. I think it was called "Fever" or something like that.
I think there was a song called "Fever."
It was something. It was like track 7-ish or 8-ish maybe. I should have wrote a note. I didn't. But that was like a welcoming, because I think albums need stuff like that, but I think the placement of it could have been a little bit earlier. And the reason for that is because I feel like the first half of the album was a lot stronger than the second half. And the fact that that song's in the second half, I think it could have balanced it out a lot more by switching the placement of that song. It would have evened the album out a lot more.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think it was pretty good. And I got to give credit and kudos to Overkill for releasing on the same day as Metallica. Because when Metallica announces they're going to drop an album on a day, everybody else goes, okay, we can't do that day. And they scratch it off their calendar. But Overkill's like, fuck it, we're doing it.
I want to say Overkill announced first. Because this album got pushed back a few times.
Did it?
It was supposed to come out some time ago. So
maybe. I don't know. I heard about the Overkill one after, so whatever.
Maybe not. Maybe they just decided to step up to the plate.
They didn't shy away. That's one thing for sure.
Exactly.
I mean, they've been in the game just as long as Metallica, pretty much. So it's like, they're going head to head. And if I'm going to say, as far as thrash goes, out of the two albums, I'd say Overkill probably has a better thrash album if you're really talking like just straight up thrash. Because we all know Metallica kind of deviates and doesn't quite hit the whole like thrash home runs like they used to do back in the day. But let's start talking about it. 72 seasons.
72 seasons. The first 18 years of your life that determine your true or false self, as said from James Hetfield himself.
Or your true vile self.
You never know. But You know, this album, they released 4 singles, and we generally enjoyed them. Like, Lux Eterna, I'll just say right now, one of the best songs of the year.
Banger.
Like, we both enjoyed it when we first heard it, and it grew, I don't know about you, it grew on me really fast. There was like a time or two I heard it afterwards where I'm like, oh, this is sick. Album comes out, I hear it, this is amazing. The energy's sick, it's not too long, it's just the vocals are so powerful, just everything about it is so cool, so fun. Now, Screaming Suicide. I remember when we checked out this song at first, with the music video, we weren't too huge on it.
We liked it, but it was like, we were like, we wanted more Lux Eterna.
Yeah, I feel like it was a bit of a jump to go from Lux Eterna to this song, but hearing it now on the album, I actually like it a lot more. Like, way more than I thought I did. And it almost felt like it was faster, but I think that's a placebo. I really don't think they made it faster. That would make sense. But I was surprised. Like, the riff is fun, chorus is catchy, and the energy is there that I just didn't feel like I recall feeling when I first heard the song. And I think a big part of it is perhaps the placement of the song. I believe it's track 3. And especially considering, like, the track opens, or that album opens with the title track, which has a lot of energy to it as well. I do like that song. It has some cool stuff in it. But, yeah, so, and then the other 2 singles, well, one of them was the title track, and then the other one was If Darkness Had a Sun, which I do really like a lot, especially because of its placement. Being later on, I think it does sound really nice. Now, I guess there's 2 major kind of overarching things to mention about this album, and because we always like ending on high notes, I'll get the lower note out of the way, and that is the album's length. This album is 77 minutes long, which I think is the same length as Hardwired. Like, it's a comparable length to that album.
The length isn't even a problem, it's why it's so long is the problem.
Yeah, it's 12 tracks, and Metallica, and they've always had this thing where they make a lot of really long songs, but these long songs feel a little bit artificial in their length. They tend to vamp and groove to these riffs for so long that it feels like it starts to drag, and you start to think, is something going to happen
Like,
here?
just get on with it.
They'll make intros last like 1 to 2 minutes long, or they'll groove on something, or they'll have like 3 false endings where you could totally end the song. And I believe we even said that when we reacted to the title track music
throw
video.
another chorus in when they could have just ended it.
Exactly. You could have ended it here, but they have to play the chorus, ahead out. And that is that is present on this album, and that's just kind of what this band does, and I'm just not a fan of them doing that. Now, something that's interesting is that the last track in Alvarada, the first Metallica track to go past 10 minutes. This track's 11 minutes long, and you know what? They actually formatted it in the long scale structure, where you introduce a musical concept, it changes, goes somewhere else, and then returns back to where you came from.
Yeah.
I just feel that with this song, though, the sections are kind of uneventful. It's like they jam on this for a few minutes, then there's this quiet bit for a few minutes, and then they go back to the original jam for a few minutes. That's kind of how it felt from listening to it at first.
It's like a roller coaster without any big drops.
Yeah.
With no real exciting moments.
It's like you're kind of like taking like a short car ride. Not really short, but it's like just, it's not like a roller coaster. It's kind of like you're just taking...
It's a mundane car ride.
Like it's a car ride, I guess.
It's just a car ride.
But yeah, now, it's tough because some of the songs feel strong enough in terms of the riffs that I don't mind. Some of them do feel like they kind of drag, and there are some songs that are appropriate lengths, like 4 to 5 minutes or so. It's just when they start to get to 7 minutes plus is when it starts to become a problem because of that.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest highlights of this album for me is James Hetfield's vocal performance. And I felt this way since we reacted to Lux Eterna. With that chorus, I feel like his cleans have evolved to such an incredible height with this album. It's some of the best vocals I've heard from him at all. The way he does things melodically, how his cleaner voice sounds, very, very nice. And I do like some of the melodic decisions on this album as well. The choruses are really catchy, which makes sense, I guess, from Black Album onward, they started to really kind of grab people with hooks a lot more, right?
Yes.
And that is present on this album, and I do think it sounds great. And some of them kind of caught me by surprise a little bit, but it's something that I kept thinking to myself, like, wow, James sounds great, he sounds great, and I feel like he's really refined himself as a vocalist, especially for, like, his age at this point. Like, it's very impressive.
Yeah, he's definitely nailed it. I 100% agree. James sounds amazing on this album, and I think a big part of that is because lyrically, I think this album really kind of speaks to him on an internal level. You know, a lot of the lyrics are about, you know, his growth as a human and, you know, his inner demons, and these are things that a lot of people can relate to, which is why the lyrics are so good. But I think that's one of the reasons why when he's singing it, he's singing it from the heart. He's not just singing lyrics on a page. This is all coming from inside, which adds to the, you know, greatness of the sound.
For sure.
You mentioned a couple things, catchiness. Yes, this album's got a lot of catchy stuff to it, which might turn some people off, but whatever. I think it's awesome. You know, songs like 72 Seasons, Shadows Follow, both those have amazingly catchy choruses. Too Far Gone, another really catchy chorus. I liked all the choruses pretty much except for Crown of Barbed Wire has a bad chorus. I really don't like that one, and I'm hoping it grows on me. But to make up for it, the riffs pre and post chorus are fucking awesome. So it's like every song I find had something that I really liked about it, but also something that I kind of didn't like about it. So like 72 Seasons, for example, the chorus is great. I love this. I love it. But the intro, like, it's just got too much padding on it, right?
Yeah, it's too long.
You know, You Must Burn is a really slow and hard-hitting song. It's got probably one of the best solos on the album. But does it ride this slow, hard, kind of just like, I don't know, it does it ride it too long? Is like 7 minutes long or something like that? Like, it's most of the problems are going to come from the length of the songs. But this is also something that once you become more familiar with things, they don't feel as long as they really are anymore.
Yeah.
So with more listens, things might become more tolerable, and you might, you know, you kind of just get through things a lot faster than waiting for things to happen. If Darkness Had a Sun, that's another song with a tremendously good riff. I remember when we reacted to it, I thought this riff is really good, and I still feel that way. It's awesome.
We also did feel, I believe, that the intro was too drawn out.
Yeah, and I mean, that's going to be a recurring comment, right? And I'm hoping throughout the week we don't feel that way anymore. But another highlight song for me, and this is something that I haven't seen many people comment on, was Chasing Light, track number 8. This song's got amazing verses. The chorus is also good. Not the best, but it's good. Great solo. It hit all the marks. I feel like that's one of the songs I really don't have a lot of gripes for, and I'm looking forward to listening to that one more as well. But overall, on first couple listens today, again, I feel like it's a really good, solid output from Metallica, man. I feel like these guys are still doing great things. I'm a person that liked Hardwired. I like Death Magnetic. I mean, I feel like this falls in vein with the age they are and how they progressed throughout their career. But I feel like it's hard to be disappointed. I feel like they're doing everything they should be doing, and people are disappointed because they don't sound like this or sound like that. And I think those people are wrong, to be honest. I'm pretty happy with what I've heard so far.
Yeah, I generally enjoyed it as well. Just to, I guess, add on one more thing, you did mention a song you felt not many people really talked about. For me, Room of Mirrors I thought was a pretty cool song near the end of the album. I feel like it kind of captures the aggressive, faster energy. Not as fast as Lux, but it is one that stood out to me for that energy that was there, and I did like that song too. But yeah, overall, I did enjoy this album. The high points feel really high, but the low points really feel like it's kind of pulling it back a little bit. Length, and in some cases, maybe some of the riffs just aren't really hitting, which I guess get a little bit worse because of the length. Because if a riff isn't really hitting and it's long, it's just like,
that's
why?
not good.
Yes, that's not good. So overall, though, I did enjoy it. So we're going to be listening to this album constantly nonstop throughout the week, and we will be back next week to review 72 Seasons in its entirety. And that's all we got for you guys today. Remember to like this video if you liked it. Tell us in the comments below, what is your favorite song from this album on day one? What from this album stood out to you? And if nothing stood out to you, what did you want from this album? Did you want it to sound like the old stuff, which, I mean, it's probably never going to happen again, you know what I mean? But we'd love to hear what you guys have to say, and subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. I'm TV Fish.
I'm Vile Self.
See you guys later.